The dataset that we are going to use to perform time series analysis is a time series of COVID-19 vaccinations in each country. The dataset contains two different tables, but we will only use the table country vaccination. This table contains a total of 16 columns, but for the sake of reducing the scope of the analysis, we will be limiting ourselves to only three features or columns of the table, which are country, date, and number of daily vaccinations. In this analysis, we are going to focus on five main questions. In order to answer the first question, which is how many vaccinations were administered in a particular country on a monthly basis, we can write this query. Here we have selected country from the table and we have extracted year and month from the date because the result is to be displayed for each month, and we have also used the sum aggregate function to calculate sum of daily vaccination. Moreover, we are going to group it first by country because we have to find the number of administered vaccines for each country. Then we will group it by year and month to get the monthly record. And finally, we are going to order it by country, then by year, and then by month. Now we are going to execute the query. Upon executing the query, you can clearly see that the number of vaccines that were administered in each country is displayed for each month of each year. In order to answer the second question, which is what is the 3-month moving average of vaccinations in each country, we can write this particular query. Here, moving average is an average of a fixed number of items in the time series, which move through the series by dropping the top items of the previous average group and adding the next in each successive average. For computing the 3-month moving average, we will have to find the vaccination values for the current month and 2 preceding months, and then we will find their average. Here you can see that we have created a common table expression named total vac, and here what we are doing is we are selecting country and extracting year and month from date, and we are also calculating sum of daily vaccinations using the sum aggregate function, and we are grouping it by country, year and month. Then outside the CTE, we are selecting country, year, month and number of vaccinations. Moreover, we are using the average aggregate function, and here in the function we are passing the num vaccinations, which is the sum of daily vaccinations that we calculated in the CTE. And with this window function, we are using the over clause and we are partitioning the result by country and we are ordering it by month. Here we have defined rows between two preceding and current row, which is the way to define the number of rows that we want to partition by. Here we are finding the moving average of 3 months. So we have selected rows between two preceding and current row. Okay. Then we are grouping the result by country, year, month and number of vaccination. Upon executing the query, you can see the moving average for each country for each individual month. We are going to focus on these three records. Here, as I have already mentioned, that moving average is the average of the current row plus two preceding rows. So in order to calculate the moving average of the 6th month, what it does is it calculated the average of the 6th month, 5th month and 4th month, and the value returned is the moving average for the 6th month. Similarly, for the 5th month, the moving average will be the average of 5th, 4th and 3rd month and so on. For the third question, which is what is the change in monthly vaccinations in percentage in each country, we can write this particular query. Here, we will first calculate the sum of daily vaccinations for each month using a CTE, and then in another CTE, we will simply use the lag function on the num vaccination value which is extracted from the first CTE, and we are going to partition it on the basis of month. Here, we are going to use the isNull function to avoid the null values because the previous row of the first record is 0, and we are going to use this value for future calculation. So in order to avoid the null values, we are going to use the isNull function. Then outside the CTE, we will calculate the percentage change in vaccination for each month. Here we are using the round function to round off the result to 2 decimal values. Now we are going to execute the query. Upon executing the query, you can see the output having the following columns: country, year, month, num vaccinations, previous vaccination, and percentage change. We are going to focus on these 3 records. Here, as we have seen from the formula, that the percentage change is calculated by subtracting the num vaccination for each month by the number of vaccinations for the previous month. So for the for the 5th month, we are going to calculate the percentage change by subtracting the number of vaccinations from the number of vaccinations of the previous month, and the difference is then divided by the number of vaccinations and multiplied by 100, and thus we will get 23.17 percentile change for the 5th month. For the 4th question, which is which months have the lowest vaccination records for each country, we can write this query. First, we will calculate the monthly sum of daily vaccinations using a CTE called total vac. Then, to find the month with the worst performance for each country, we will use the rank function to rank each month on the basis of number of vaccinations and partition it on the basis of country. Then finally, we are going to select all the rows whose rank is 1. Then now upon executing the query, you can see the countries and the month for which the number of vaccinations were the lowest. So here in the output you can see that for Afghanistan in the year 2021, the second month has the least number of vaccinations. For Albania in the year 2021, for the first month the number of vaccinations is 471, and so on. For the last question, which is which 3 months are the worst for vaccination in each country, we will use this query. Here you can see that this query is just like the previous query where we were finding the single worst month. But here we have to find 3 worst months. So here, instead of rank equal to 1 in the previous query, we will write rank less than equal to 3 to get the 3 worst month of vaccination in each country. Upon executing the query, you can see that now instead of a single month, the output is giving us 3 months that have the least number of vaccination for each country. So in this analysis, you can see that we have used as time series data to analyze different records from the time series using different time series analysis techniques. Thank you.